Introducing the plaintiff, wrestling gamers. They say the defendant is behind the times, introducing a wrestling game based on another wrestling game that's over 20 years old, failing to adapt to a 2023 audience's expectations. The plaintiff believes that with long development times and release date delays, that the expectations for AEW's first game is too high for them to meet. Here to plead their case is the defendant, AEW Fight Forever. They claim that wrestling fans have begged for a fun, old-school, arcadey style game that's easy to pick up and play. AEW claims that their gameplay is easy to pick up, but difficult to master. We shall see. The dishonorable Judge Crook presiding. Ladies and gentlemen, I have reviewed the case, and after spending many hours with the game, I have made my decision. I have some opinions that you may not hear from other reviews, but we'll get to those. Now, it is true, wrestling games are not what they once were. I myself am not a big fan of the WWE 2K series. This game sucks. The gameplay is not worth sitting through all this crap. And among my favorite games of all time, the early 2000 wrestling games are at the top of that list. Up top. Oh, big, look at that ass. 5-star frog splash. Look out, Earl. Look at this. Whoa. And those games are exactly what AEW Fight Forever is drawing its inspiration from. So I'm going into this game hopeful, but reserved. AEW is a relatively new company itself, and this is their very first game. In the game's development, they seem to be doing everything they can to meet the demands of gamers who have been looking for a fun wrestling game that's reminiscent of those older games that were fast-paced and impactful games, as opposed to the simulation, realistic style of modern WWE games. They brought in THQ and Yuke's, who were behind those early games, and based AEW Fight Forever on the Aki engine that was behind classic games like the early Def Jam games. So, does the gameplay specifically live up to those expectations? Almost. The answer is yes, it does. But it needs some refinement. Many of the moves look great, some don't. But that old animation style is definitely present. The problem I think that wrestling games face: the developers listen to fans telling them that they want faster, arcade-style games, and they give us what they think that means. But the sales don't do well, so they go back to simulation-based games. What I think wrestling fans really want is satisfaction. Wait, I mean that in the most PG way possible. Let me explain. When I hit a big move, I want it to feel satisfying. I want it to feel like my F5 was absolutely devastating. Oh, big F5! Look at the damage! Bang! It doesn't mean speed up the animation or make it super over the top. It just means make the moves have impact. Video games are all about escapism, and I want to feel like a badass in the ring. 2K games tried to address these criticisms by simply turning up the animation speed, but the impacts were still boring, and the pace of the game remained slow. It takes so long just to find out I didn't get the move. Oh God! AEW Fight Forever is somewhere in the middle. Some of the moves do look and feel pretty devastating, which is what I want. It also feels like they sped up animations just for the sake of it, which are left feeling kinda flat. Movement is important in any game. And in this, it feels good in some areas, but a little sluggish in others. The speed of the run, for example, doesn't feel very fast. and your running attack doesn't feel like it has any momentum behind it whatsoever. But aside from that, getting to the top rope is nice and quick, and so is getting in and out of the ring. So if you're looking for this to play exactly like those old school games a lot of us all grew up on, it's not quite there. This isn't replacing Here Comes the Pain or Def Jam, but it is close, and it's a step in the right direction. The weapons in this game are great. Usually. I gotta set this. Hey! What the hell? You can ride skateboards, throw grenades, and kick people with a big-ass shoe. Goofy, a little, fun, yeah. There are some glitches and problems now and then, but I don't mind a little jankiness in my games so long as it remains fun and not totally game-breaking, which so far, I have not experienced any major game-breaking issues. This brings us to create a wrestler. Now you have to choose from a list of names that the announcer will read, and I couldn't find one close enough to my name. So let me introduce you to the man they call Clark.
Making his way to the ring, the Clark.
Let's go to the ring.
Now I go to customize my guy, and there's f***ing nothing here. I'm glad they have creative mode, I guess, it's here, but there's not much to choose from. You can't double up on the facial hair, you can't even wear a jacket and a shirt, and you can't wear a jacket in the ring. It's not allowed. I'm not sure if I'm just missing something, but I can't even alter the shape of his face, aside from the 8 stock options that I have. Even more devastating than that, there's no top hat. AEW, what are you doing? Here's where I run into my biggest problem with AEW Fight Forever. While the gameplay is pretty fun, the areas in which you play the game are not that fun. There aren't that many match types, no cage matches, no last man standing, no table matches, Iron Man, backstage areas, gauntlets, or even bra and panties matches. Just bring those back. Please. Please. Road to Elite is lackluster. Nothing seems to happen. There's no conflict, there's no twists and turns. It kind of just feels like all the wrestlers are best friends and don't have any issues with one another. Oh, couldn't get it done in the Casino Battle Royale, huh? There's only so much room at the top. Every show needs a curtain jerker. Whoa! The disrespect! Hey, you're not fit to shine my boots, Kenny. But keep that up, and you'll be eating one. Hey! I was only kidding. There's plenty of opportunity here in AEW, because AEW is a great wrestling company, and you should like it. I do like that you can lose matches and it does affect the story, which is a step in the right direction away from 2K's awful story mode, where it doesn't matter how you play, you're going to get the result the game wants you to get. So that's a plus for AEW. There is some weird stuff with Road to Elite. Like if you're using a real wrestler in the story, you can't upgrade them. So it gives you nothing to really strive for in the story. You do, however, get to choose your dietary preferences, which is important. Let's go hard. Diet. Diet? Pardon? Okay. Now I'd like to introduce a participant in the Casino Battle Royale match. I want you all to know his dietary preference is vegetarian. CM Punk. The graphics are okay, I guess. I can't help but feel like they look like high-resolution versions of 2001 action figures. Am I wrong? That's pretty spot on. Older wrestling games got a pass because they were made 20 years ago, and in their era, they look pretty good. In 2023, we expect more than that. And while clearly it's a stylized game, it's hard to get past some of the 2003 looking models. The entrances. Whoa, look at those teeth! They're short and to the point, which I don't mind. However, it doesn't really feel intentional. It feels lazy. I don't need an 8-minute entrance, I'm fine with the short entrances, but it doesn't feel like they actually put time into making them interesting. Now, this isn't a major negative or anything like that, I just would have liked to see them be a bit more interesting. They all get more or less the same lighting and generic feel. You can, however, add a little spice of your own by controlling the camera cuts and the pyro. This can be really cool if you use it subtly.
You'll never get bored watching this!
So with uninspired entrances, kinda similar movesets, and wrestlers squatting or standing straight to match their opponent's height, it does kinda feel like every wrestler is more or less the same. There's a couple of examples here and there where wrestlers have distinctive things, but overall, they're pretty similar. You're not really painfully aware of this at first, but after a while, you do notice the lack of distinction. You could really choose anybody from the roster and have a pretty similar experience. AEW does take some steps in the right direction. WWE 2K games have gotten so stale that it's refreshing to see something new on the market that at least attempts to be fun. With these reviews, I determine not only if the game is good, but if the game is worthy of mastering. Kenny Omega, who had a hand in development, says that this game is easy to pick up,
but difficult to master.
So, am I going to master this game? No. AEW Fight Forever is a fun game on the surface, but once you start getting decent at it, you soon realize that there's no depth to this game. The story mode is not that great. The creative modes, not great. Wrestlers more or less behave the same, their entrances all look pretty much the same, all the playable arenas look the same, and creating your own arenas doesn't offer you much more than what you've already got. So once you've thrown a couple of bombs and ridden a few skateboards, you kind of feel like there's nothing left to do. I didn't talk about the minigames because, well, they're just there. I have 30 points now, right? Can I unlock some stuff? Oh no, it's money that I use to buy the stuff. So what were the points for? Now, fighting games generally aren't as rich with detail and intricate plots like a God of War or a Skyrim, but a simple game can still have personality and game design that keeps the player engaged. AEW Fight Forever feels like a fun game that's holding you back from actually enjoying it. Tag matches take away your freedom to run around when you're not in the ring.
Where am I? Oh, why the f am I over here?
Why can't I just go and attack the guy? Creative modes lock you in specific boxes, the match types are limited, there are virtually no unlockables to strive towards, and most of your time in the road to elite is watching your guy eat. There's nothing worth playing this game for. The emphasis in AEW's game was put solely on making a game that reminds you of WWF No Mercy, but they refuse to innovate or adapt to the demands of a 2023 audience. If you want to play No Mercy, you might as well just go and play No Mercy. And that's the verdict on AEW Fight Forever.